In the bustling village of Ijebu, during the 1800s, a man named Alhaji Ibrahim found a young girl wandering the streets. She was about 7 years old, with no memory of her parents or her past. Alhaji Ibrahim, known for his kindness, took her in. He was a man with 2 wives, struggling financially, but he couldn't leave the girl alone. He named her Simi. Alhaji Ibrahim's first wife, Aisha, had no children of her own and welcomed Simi with open arms. Despite their financial struggles, she treated the girl as her daughter, providing her with love and care. However, the second wife, Yemi, was not as kind. Yemi had 2 daughters, Sadeh and Bola, and she resented Simi from the moment she arrived. Yemi often warned her daughters to stay away from Simi, calling her an evil witch who had come to steal their fortune. In public, Yemi pretended to be kind to Simi, but behind closed doors, she was cruel. She would berate Simi, calling her names and making her do all the household chores. Despite this, Simi remained kind and gentle, always doing her best to help around the house. A year passed since Simi joined Alhaji Ibrahim's family, and a miraculous transformation began to unfold. Alhaji Ibrahim's business fortunes took an unexpected turn for the better. His modest trading business blossomed, attracting more clients and increasing profits. With the newfound wealth, Alhaji Ibrahim decided to invest in his wife's entrepreneurial dreams. "Aisha, my love, I want to give you the capital to start that textile business you always dreamed of," Alhaji Ibrahim said one evening, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Aisha's face lit up with joy. "Thank you, my husband. I will make you proud." He then turned to Yemi. "And you, Yemi, I know you've always wanted to open a provision store. Here is the capital to get started." Yemi, hiding her true feelings, smiled graciously. "Thank you, my dear husband. I will make sure the store thrives." Soon, both Aisha's textile business and Yemi's provision store began to flourish. The villagers marveled at the sudden prosperity of Alhaji Ibrahim's household. It seemed that fortune had finally smiled upon them. Despite their financial stability, Yemi's resentment towards Simi only grew. Yet, she was cunning and knew how to hide her true feelings. In front of Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha, she pretended to be affectionate and caring. "Simi, my dear, come here," Yemi would say sweetly when Alhaji Ibrahim was around. "Have you eaten today? You must take care of yourself, my child." "Yes, Mama Yemi," Simi would reply, grateful for the apparent kindness. Aisha often praised Yemi's efforts. "You have such a big heart, Yemi. Simi is lucky to have you." Yemi would smile warmly, masking her true intentions. "We are all family. It's my duty to care for her." Alhaji Ibrahim was convinced that Yemi had accepted Simi as her own. "We are truly blessed to have such a loving family," he would often say. One day, Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha received a lucrative business proposal that required them to travel to a distant village for 2 months. Before leaving, Alhaji Ibrahim entrusted Simi to Yemi's care. "Yemi, we will be away for a while. Please take good care of Simi," Alhaji Ibrahim said earnestly. "Of course, my husband," Yemi replied with a serene smile. "She will be in good hands." Aisha hugged Simi tightly. "Be good, my dear. Yemi will take care of you while we are gone." "I will, Mama Aisha. Safe travels," Simi said, trying to hold back her tears. As soon as Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha left, Yemi's demeanor changed. She no longer needed to pretend. "Listen here, you little witch," Yemi hissed once they were alone. "You will do all the chores, and you will not complain. Do you understand?" Simi, frightened but resolute, nodded. "Yes, Mama Yemi." Yemi's daughters, Seda and Bola, joined in the mistreatment. "Fetch us water, Simi," Seda demanded. "Clean my room now," Bola added. Simi worked tirelessly from dawn till dusk, her hands raw from scrubbing and her body aching from the relentless labor. She was given a small corner of the house to sleep in, and the only food she received were scraps left over from Yemi and her daughter's meals. When Yemi's friends visited, they participated in the charade. "Oh, Yemi, you are so kind to take care of this orphan," one of them said, her voice dripping with false admiration. "Yes, she is such a blessing," Yemi replied, smirking when Simi wasn't looking. In reality, they all gossiped about how Yemi should get rid of Simi before she brought more misfortune to the family. The days turned into weeks, and Simi's spirit remained unbroken despite the harsh treatment. One evening, as Simi was cleaning the yard, she overheard Yemi talking to her daughters. "Remember, always smile and act kind when your father and Aisha are around. We don't want them to suspect anything," Yemi instructed. "Yes, Mama," Saad and Bola chorused. Simi's heart sank. She knew she had no one to turn to. She had to endure the suffering until Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha returned. She clung to the hope that one day, the truth would come to light. The days of hard labor continued, with Simi silently praying for the return of her adoptive parents. Simi's resilience and hope kept her going, even in the face of adversity. As the weeks dragged on, Yemi grew bolder in her cruelty, convinced that Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha would never find out. One day, overwhelmed by the excess work and mistreatment, Simi fell ill. Instead of taking responsibility, Yemi drove her out of the house, leaving her to fend for herself on the streets. As Simi wandered the streets, weak and disoriented, she stumbled upon a quiet alley and collapsed, unable to take another step. Just then, a kind-hearted woman named Mama Tunda, known in the village for her herbal remedies and flowers, passed by and noticed the frail girl. Recognizing her as Alhaji Ibrahim's adopted daughter, Mama Tunda rushed to her side and gently helped her up. She took Simi to her home, providing her with food and a warm bed. Mama Tunda tended to her with herbal teas and nourishing meals, gradually restoring Simi's strength. The next day, Mama Tunda confronted Yemi about Simi. Yemi, with her usual deceitful demeanor, claimed that Simi was a curse who had brought nothing but trouble to the family. Mama Tunda, appalled by Yemi's blatant cruelty and falsehoods, decided that Simi could not stay in such a toxic environment. She resolved to care for the girl until Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha returned. Life with Mama Tunda was peaceful. Simi, though still missing her parents deeply, found solace in the kind woman's care. She assisted with the herbal and flower business, learning about different plants and their uses. The bond between them grew strong, with Mama Tunda seeing Simi as the daughter she never had. A few weeks later, Mama Tunda received an opportunity to expand her business to a faraway island known for its vibrant markets. Seeing no other option, she decided to take Simi with her. They traveled through different villages, crossing a long bridge that connected the island to the mainland. Upon their arrival, they were welcomed by the bustling community. Mama Tunda's business began to flourish, thanks in part to Simi's help and the girl's innate charm. However, a powerful storm hit the island shortly after their arrival, causing the bridge to collapse. The villagers informed Mama Tunda that it would take at least a month to repair. Trapped on the island, Simi couldn't help but miss her parents deeply. Despite the growing success of the herbal and flower business, her thoughts frequently drifted back to Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha. During this time, Mama Tunda's business thrived even more, with demand for her remedies and flowers skyrocketing. Simi's presence seemed to bring a touch of luck and prosperity wherever she went. Yet, the girl's longing for her parents never waned. She would often gaze at the distant horizon, hoping for the day when she could return home and be reunited with the family she loved. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Mama Tunda and Simi grew stronger. Despite the thriving business and newfound stability, both knew that the girl's heart belonged with her true family. They patiently waited for the bridge to be repaired, ready to embark on the journey that would eventually lead Simi back to where she belonged. Meanwhile, Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha returned to find Simi missing. Devastated, they searched everywhere but could not find her. Yemi lied, saying that Simi had run away. The news of Simi's disappearance spread, and Alhaji Ibrahim's happiness turned to sorrow. Their business began to suffer as their focus shifted to finding Simi. In the meantime, Yemi's life took a turn for the worse. Her business started to fail, her daughters caused trouble wherever they went, and their reputation was tarnished. Desperate and refusing to accept her fate, Yemi resorted to using her daughters to steal from her friends, hoping to regain her lost wealth. Weeks passed as Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha searched tirelessly for Simi. Their journey took them through countless villages, with each day bringing a mix of hope and despair. Meanwhile, on the island, the bridge repairs were nearly complete. The villagers, having grown fond of Mama Tunda and Simi, eagerly anticipated the day the bridge would be restored. Simi helped Mama Tunda in her flourishing business, but her heart ached for her family. The island, though welcoming, could never replace the love she felt for Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha. One bright morning, the news spread that the bridge was finally repaired. Mama Tunda knew it was time to take Simi back to her parents. They packed Simi's belongings, and with a mixture of excitement and sadness, they bid farewell to the islanders. The journey back began, crossing the newly repaired bridge and making their way through the familiar villages. Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha, weary from their relentless search, found themselves in a small village, asking anyone if they had seen a girl fitting Simi's description. The villagers shook their heads sympathetically, offering no new leads. Their hope was waning, but they refused to give up. As Mama Tunda and Simi traveled, they passed through a bustling marketplace in one of the villages. In the midst of the crowd, Simi's cherished bangle, a gift from the island chief, slipped off her wrist and rolled into the throng of people. Frantically, Simi chased after it, her heart pounding with anxiety. The bangle came to rest at the feet of a man in the crowd. As Simi reached out to retrieve it, she looked up and saw the familiar face of Alhaji Ibrahim. Time seemed to stand still as recognition dawned on both of them. Tears streamed down Simi's face as she cried out, "Papa!" Alhaji Ibrahim, overwhelmed with emotion, dropped to his knees and embraced Simi tightly. "Simi, my daughter!" he exclaimed, his voice choked with relief and joy. Aisha, seeing the commotion, rushed over and joined the embrace, tears of happiness flowing freely. Mama Tunde watched from a distance, her heart swelling with joy at the reunion she had long hoped for. She approached the family, and Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha thanked her profusely for caring for Simi. The truth of Simi's suffering under Yemi's care came to light, shocking Alhaji Ibrahim and Aisha. With heartfelt gratitude, Alhaji Ibrahim said, "Mama Tunda, you have done more for us than we could ever repay. Thank you for saving our daughter." Mama Tunda smiled warmly. "Simi has been a blessing to me as well. I am glad she is back where she belongs." Simi recounted her experiences, and Mama Tunda confirmed every detail. Now helping Simi find her parents, Mama Tunda headed back to the island. Simi, now reunited with Alhaji Ibrahim, and Aisha headed back home. The journey back to Ijebu was filled with stories and shared relief. It was late afternoon when chaos erupted in Alhaji Ibrahim's home. Yemi's daughters, Sade and Bola, had been caught stealing jewelry from a neighbor, and now they were being dragged home by the furious woman. Yemi was scolding them harshly, her friend watching the scene with a mix of shock and disapproval. "How could you do this? How could you bring such shame to our family?" Yemi yelled, her voice filled with feigned outrage. Saad and Bola, kneeling on the floor, were sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, Mama," Said cried. "We didn't mean to." Bola's voice was barely audible through her tears. "We're sorry. Please forgive us." Yemi's friend, standing nearby, shook her head. "This is disgraceful, Yemi. You need to get a handle on your children." Just then, Alhaji Ibrahim entered the house alone, his face etched with concern. "What is happening here?" Sade and Bola saw their father and immediately ran to him, seeking comfort and protection. "Papa, we're sorry," they sobbed, clinging to his legs. Yemi quickly tried to regain control of the situation. "These girls were caught stealing jewelry," she said, pointing accusingly at her daughters. "I can't believe they would do such a thing." But Sada, still crying, interrupted her. "Mama told us to do it. She said we had to steal to get back what we lost." Alhaji Ibrahim's eyes widened in shock. "What?" Yemi's face turned pale. "That's a lie. They're just trying to save themselves from punishment." As Yemi tried to defend herself, the door opened, and Aisha stepped in with Simi by her side. The sight of Simi left Yemi speechless, her face draining of color. "Enough, Yemi," Aisha said firmly. "We know the truth." Alhaji Ibrahim, his voice cold and filled with disappointment, added, "I know everything that has happened, Yemi." Yemi, desperate to salvage the situation, tried to feign concern. "Oh, Simi, my dear, where have you been? I was so worried about you." But Simi stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "You were never worried about me. You treated me like a slave and called me a curse." Saad, emboldened by her sister's courage, spoke up again. Mama always said Simi was a witch and that she was here to steal our fortune. Bola nodded in agreement. She told us to be mean to her and to lie about her running away. Yemi's friend, who had been silently watching, now spoke up. I've heard her say those things too. She would send Simi on endless errands and insult her behind everyone's back. Yemi, realizing she was outnumbered and exposed, began to beg. Please, I didn't mean any harm. I was just worried about our family's future. Please forgive me. But it was too late. Alhaji Ibrahim's face was set in a hard line. Your actions have brought shame and misery upon this household. You have shown cruelty to an innocent child and corrupted your own daughters. You are no longer welcome here. Yemi fell to her knees, pleading. Please, give me another chance. I'll change, I promise. Aisha shook her head. No more lies, Yemi. Your true nature has been revealed, and you must face the consequences of your actions. Alhaji Ibrahim turned to the two daughters, who were still clinging to him. Sade Bola, you will stay here and learn the right way to live. Aisha will guide you, and we will build a new future together. Yemi was cast out of the house, her pleas falling on deaf ears. As she left, the weight of her actions bore down on her, and she realized the true extent of the damage she had caused. She had lost everything due to her own deceit and malice. Inside the house, Alhaji Ibrahim embraced Simi, Aisha, and the two daughters. The family, now united in truth and love, began the process of healing and rebuilding. With Yemi gone, peace returned to Alhaji Ibrahim's household. Aisha's guidance helped the daughters become better individuals, and the three girls grew close, like true sisters. Alhaji Ibrahim's business prospered again, and Aisha soon gave birth to a baby boy, bringing even more joy to the family. Yemi, now living in disgrace, visited a seer, hoping to lift the curse she believed was upon her. The seer revealed that Simi was a blessing child, bringing joy and prosperity wherever she went. Yemi's misfortune was a result of her own evil actions. The seer, seeing the depth of her wickedness, cast her out, warning her never to return. Realizing her foolishness, Yemi wandered, filled with regret and shame. Meanwhile, Simi grew up in a loving home, her presence a constant reminder of the power of kindness, love, and the blessings that follow. Moral of the story. The story of Simi teaches that true blessings come from love, kindness, and doing good to others. Those who act with malice and deceit will ultimately face the consequences of their actions. That is all for this video. Click the subscribe button to get more stories. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. You can also give a super thanks too. Cheers, friend!